Thank the Speaker. I thank the gentleman for yielding. I come to the floor to talk about this bill with real appreciation for the hard work that the gentleman from New Jersey has put into this effort. I know it's a heartfelt effort on his part, and in fact, I first met his mother when we were both serving as the Secretaries of State of our respective states of West Virginia and Missouri at the time. And I just come here to say that the states have handled the responsibility of the mechanics of election administration well for a very long time. The process of voting, how you vote, the mechanics of what the ballot looks like, whether you have a straight ballot voting system, all that have been left to the states, and I think wisely so. In the Help America Vote Act, the Congress provided states with over $3 billion to modernize their voting systems, including allowing the states to decide if they wanted to have a paper backup. In my state, the state of Missouri, the Secretary of State determined that if that money was used, there'd be no system authorized in our state unless a paper backup was part of that system. As it turned out, that was a very good decision. But in the aftermath of the 2000 elections, many states took that incentive, that $3 billion that was out there, and in my view, made decisions more quickly than they otherwise would have. This bill now offers a second round of money that would be available to encourage changing their systems, many of them that we know about today, changing their systems from a system they just use federal money to change to. I think this is neither wise nor the responsible thing for us to do. I also very much think that there's no reason to rush this bill at this time. There is not enough time left between now and the November election to change voting systems. Over 30 states have already conducted primary elections with the system they'll use in November. The very worst time to change a voting system is an election that has overwhelming participation, as we believe this one will. Election administration and the mechanics of election grew up in this country over decades and generations of voting and voting habits. To try to change those habits from a primary election sometime earlier in the year to a new system, to be really, frankly, tested the first time in probably the biggest election turnout that we have had or will have in a long time, is just a mistake. To think that we should pass this bill today for the November election, I think is as far off base as we could be. I'm not absolutely opposed to the federal government encouraging states to do better with their election process. I am opposed to this feeling that we get into that creates an environment where the states have to make these decisions more quickly than they should, and particularly to make a decision like this just in advance of a high participation election. I don't think the $3.2 billion so-called solution produced the right results. In fact, several states are now complaining that it produced problems, but they're the ones that decided that they would deal with those problems. Those problems, frankly, become less significant every time voters use a system. Maybe you did make an investment that now you wish you didn't make, but you made that investment. It's not impossible to either reverse it on your own or decide you're going to make it work. I think this is the wrong approach at the wrong time. I encourage my colleagues to vote no on this bill today, not to give up on working with our friend from New Jersey to find a bill that would be helpful to the states, but not to pass a bill today that would only create, with certainty, more problems in November than we'll have without it. And I yield back my time.
Time has expired. Gentlewoman from California.
Mr. Speaker, I just want to make it clear that the Holt bill is optional for jurisdictions. No one is